Ranger.
Hi-yo, Silver!
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo Silver. The Lone Ranger.
Hi-yo, Silver! Away!
With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early West. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. The Lone Ranger rides again.
You talked to Marshal Beetson, Kemo Sabe?
Yes, Tonto. There's been another holdup this time, near the town of Greasewood.
That makes 6 in 1 month. We go to Greasewood?
No, I think we'd better head for Mesa Junction.
But there are no holdups near Mesa Junction.
That's right, Tonto. But every stage that's been robbed either has been on its way to Mesa Junction or had passed through it.
You think maybe bandits have headquarters there?
That I don't know. I suspect someone in town is giving them information.
Bandits only rob stages with valuable cargo.
Beetson says they've avoided every trap he's set for them.
Them plenty clever.
They're clever, all right. We've got to stop them before they bankrupt every business in this territory. Let's get mounted.
Morning, Julie.
Good morning, Sheriff.
Here, let me help you with your things.
I can manage, thank you.
Julie, I'm sorry about last night. I didn't mean those things I said.
Didn't you?
I was angry because you broke our date and, well, when I found out you were having dinner with Doug Stewart,
You jumped to conclusions. And you thought I was interested in Mr. Stewart because he's a banker and the richest man in town.
I didn't say that, Julie.
But you thought it.
No, I didn't.
Well, for your information, I've been commissioned to paint his portrait.
No fooling.
Yes.
Gosh, I must have sounded like an idiot.
Well, is this a confession or an apology?
Both, I guess. Are you still angry with me?
I guess I'm too happy to be angry with anybody this morning. This portrait means I'll earn enough money that I can go on with my tour.
You mean you're leaving Mesa Junction?
Well, I've been here a month already. And, Will, I want to paint this whole wonderful West for all the world to see. Say, I better be getting on my horse and get out to Scorpion Rock before the light fails.
Let me go with you.
Now, I've told you a dozen times, I can't paint when somebody's watching me.
I wouldn't be in the way.
Yes, you will. I'll be back by lunch and I'll see you then.
You mean you'll have lunch with me?
Well, I just invited myself, didn't I?
You're late.
I couldn't make it earlier, Hack, but I've got news.
Another gold shipment?
Better than that. I had dinner with the town banker last night. He let slip they're expecting a money shipment today, and there won't even be a guard on the stage.
Yeah, great. A couple more jobs like the last two, and we'll be set for life.
This is the last job we'll pull around here.
Something go wrong?
I just don't like to crowd my luck, that's all.
Heck, Julie, what are you worried about? You got Sheriff Harrington eating out of your hand.
There's lots of sheriffs and lots of towns. We'll lie low awake and then we'll move on.
Well, what about the gold and stuff we've hidden here on Blue Mountain?
We'll divide it before we leave. You better get going. The stage goes through Summit Pass in about 15 minutes.
When do we see you?
I'll be at the hideout later this week. If anything goes wrong this morning, I'll be at Scorpion Rock, about 5 miles east of here.
They had a schedule. We can overtake him. Come on.
Don't shoot, don't shoot. I've stopped.
Check the passengers.
I haven't got any passengers.
Then toss down that strong box and be quick about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now come on down yourself.
Oh, what are you going to do to me?
Just do as I say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, boy.
Now turn around.
Listen, you ain't got no call to do anything to
I
me.
said turn
I gave
around.
you all of this.
Candy from a kid. Only this stuff's a lot sweeter than candy.
Easy, fella. Easy.
What happened?
I was going to ask you the same thing.
Well, I think they slugged me, 'cause you're too late, mister. Them other road agents took the money.
We not outlaws.
Well, he's wearing a mask.
That doesn't mean I'm an outlaw. Suppose you tell us what happened.
As if you didn't know. Them two masked pals of yours held me up in Summit Pass, and they took the money shipment.
Summit Pass only a few miles back, Kemo Sabe.
You think you can drive the stagecoach into town?
I guess so.
All right. We'll backtrack you and try to pick up the outlaw's trail.
You mean you're going after him?
Yes. Tell the sheriff in Mesa Junction we'll get in touch with him later. Adios. This looks like the place, Tonto. One of the horses lost a shoe.
Then dragged something heavy back that way.
Let's take a look. Empty, of course.
And box that big whole lot of money.
Let's try to catch up with them.
Look, Kemo Sabe. Girl paint picture.
Maybe she saw the outlaws. From here you can see the whole valley.
We ask?
Right.
Stay where you are.
Don't let my mask alarm you. We're not bandits.
I don't care who you are. Don't come any closer.
We only want to ask a question.
Well, what is it?
2 men robbed the stage about an hour ago.
Not again.
We lost their trail at the river. I thought perhaps you might have seen them.
No, I haven't seen anybody at all.
Have you been here at Scorpion Rock all morning, miss?
Since 8 o'clock. I have to be early because the afternoon light flattens the shadows.
And you came directly from town?
Yes, why?
But your horse have...
That's all right, Tonto. Thank you very much, Miss,
Gregory. Julia Gregory.
Perhaps we'll meet again. Adios.
Girl not tell truth. Her not come direct from Mesa Junction.
I know, Tonto, but I didn't want to put her on her guard.
Her horse have black mud on feet. Only red clay between here and town.
We'll pick up her trail, backtrack, and then find out where she's been. Let's go. Tonto, look at these footprints. She met 2 men up here on Blue Mountain, then doubled back to Scorpion Rock.
Kemo Sabe, that horse have 1 shoe missing. Prints like ones we find at holdup.
I think I know now how the outlaws get their information about the gold shipments.
Girl painter, tell them.
Yes, Tonto. I'll go talk to the sheriff. We'll take the back way so we won't attract attention. Sheriff, I'm not an outlaw.
What do you want?
I want to talk to you.
Say, aren't you the man that stopped the runaway stage?
That's right. Did the driver give you my message?
Sure, but I thought he was loco. Masked men don't usually operate on my side of the law.
My friend and I followed the bandits' trail to the river, but we lost their tracks.
Yeah. Same old story. I sent a posse out after him, but... well, this outfit's too smart.
Well, they weren't smart this time. Tell me, do you know a girl named Julie Gregory?
Did anything happen to Julie?
She's all right.
Every time she goes out alone to paint, I worry myself sick.
Does she go out often?
Almost every day. She's making a tour of the West, painting scenery and stuff like that.
You know Miss Gregory quite well, don't you?
I do. As a matter of fact, if I get up enough nerve, I'm going to ask her to marry me.
I see. That rather complicates matters.
What do you mean?
Well, Sheriff, I don't know how to tell you this, but...
What is it?
Well, I have reasons to believe Miss Gregory is mixed up with the crooks who've been pulling these holdups.
You're out of your mind.
I suspected you'd think so. She went to Blue Mountain this morning and...
She went to Scorpion Rock.
Yes, but first she met 2 men on Blue Mountain. The same 2 men who robbed the stagecoach.
Don't try to tell me that Julie's mixed up in anything crooked.
Well, Sheriff, I understand how you feel and...
Get out! Get out before I forget I'm an officer of the law.
All right. I hoped we could have worked together.
You see Sheriff Kemo Sabe?
Yes, Tonto. He's so much in love with Julie Gregory that he wouldn't listen to me.
A man in love only hear what he want to hear.
Somehow we have to make that woman give herself away and implicate the men she's working with.
We try fake gold shipment, maybe?
Oh, we'll need the sheriff's cooperation to do that.
That'd be hard to do.
Suppose we try to frighten her into doing something foolish.
What you want me to?
I want you to find the stagecoach driver. Get a complete description of the bandits.
But them wear masks.
Yes, but find out what kind of clothes they were wearing. Anything that he can remember. Then buy me some old clothes. I'm going to put on a disguise. There she is, Tonto. Wait for me in the trees where I change clothes.
You be careful, Kemo Sabe.
Julie.
Yes.
I've got to see you.
Well, what on earth's the matter?
Are you in any kind of trouble?
Well, not that I know of.
Please, Julie, you can tell me.
But I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to tell you I'm in love with you. I want you to marry me.
Well, really, Will, this is hardly the time or place to discuss such things.
But, Julie...
Oh!
Beg pardon, young lady.
Why don't you look where you're going?
I'm sorry, miss. Hope I didn't hurt you.
I'm quite all right.
Say, aren't you the young lady I saw up on Blue Mountain this morning?
Blue Mountain?
I'm afraid you have me mistaken with somebody else.
No, sirree. I wouldn't forget a pretty face as yours. I saw you up there talking to 2 men.
I'm afraid you've made a mistake.
No, ma'am. With these store-bought specs, I can see a mosquito at 400 yards. I saw you, all righty. You were talking to two men. And the big one was wearing a black and red shirt. And the other one...
Will, for heaven's sake.
Look, old-timer, the lady says she wasn't on Blue Mountain, so let's not argue about it. Suppose you just run along and tend to your own business.
You mean you want me to leave?
That's the general idea.
Well, then why didn't you say so? Nothing I hate worse than a man that beats around the bush and don't say what he means.
Thanks.
Wait a minute.
Well, what is it?
Julie, you're hiding something.
Don't be absurd. Just because some crazy old man says he...
He's the second person to claim that you met two men on Blue Mountain this morning.
Somebody else says he saw me?
Yes.
Well, it must be another girl that looks like me, because I was at Scorpion Rock all morning.
Look, Julie, if it's a case of mistaken identity, we ought to clear it up. You see, those two men on Blue Mountain may be the two men that held up the stage.
Really, Will, I just don't understand you. One minute you tell me you love me, and the next minute you accuse me of...
I'm not accusing you of anything. What's the matter?
My watch. It's gone.
Were you wearing it?
Well, I had it on this morning. I could have lost it, but... That old man. I'll bet he took it when he pretended to bump into me.
Why, that old scoundrel. I'll bet that's what he did. Wait here.
How things go, Kemo Sabe?
Fine. I have a hunch Miss Gregory will be leaving town in a very few minutes.
Her horse tied behind hotel.
You'd better keep an eye on it. While I'm removing this disguise and putting on my clothes, we'll...
Get your hands up. Go on, raise your hands. You're under arrest.
What first, Sheriff?
For stealing that lady's watch.
What? I didn't steal anybody's watch.
Him not thief.
That's right.
I happen to think different. You two are going to jail.
To jail? Well, that's a fine kettle of fish. It just isn't right when a citizen around here has to be accused of taking...
You're not making noise.
Good work, Tonto. Get a rope and we'll tie him.
Your voice, you're not an old man.
That's right, Sheriff. I had to resort to trickery.
The masked man.
Here, rope and gag.
Good. All right, Sheriff, turn around. Sorry, Sheriff, but if I turn you loose, you'll ruin our whole plan. While I finish tying him and remove my disguise, you keep an eye on Miss Gregory.
Let me do that.
If she leaves before I join you, follow her and leave a mark at the crossroads.
Get your hands up, Injun. Draw your gun with your fingertips and let it drop. Now, ride up the trail ahead of me and don't try anything.
Julie, what's the idea?
Oh, we've got to get out of here.
What happened?
I was seen talking to you this morning, and Harrington's getting suspicious.
Who's the engine?
I don't know. He was following me. I ran into him earlier riding with a masked man.
A masked man?
Wait a minute. Is your name Tonto?
What difference does it make?
It might make plenty.
Was this masked man riding a big white stallion?
Yes, why?
Then he must have been the Lone Ranger.
Huh?
We've got to get out of here fast. Get rid of those horses, then stand guard on the trail while Julie and I load the stuff.
All right, but hurry it up, huh?
Go on.
Open the box and load the saddlebags.
All right. Thanks, Julie. He's out cold. Maybe we ought to tie him up.
There's not enough time. Lock him in the closet.
Throw your guns easy, mister. You're covered. Now get inside. Look what I've got.
The masked man.
Yeah, he walked right into it. Well, now, this is real cozy.
What have you done to my friend?
You mean the engine?
If you've harmed him,
Don't worry, we've taken care of him. And now we're going to take care of you.
What do you intend to do with him?
There's only one thing we can do. We'll have to kill him.
No.
That's right, Julie.
are you willing to add murder to your list of crimes?
Well, I guess we have no other choice. Go ahead.
This is going to be a pleasure.
Nice going, Tonto. As soon as we tie you, we're taking you to the sheriff.
Give me gun. You, get up. Stand beside girl.
I let Julie make such a complete fool out of me. I even thought I was in love with her.
Don't take it so hard, Will.
Oh, you got back all the money they stole, and she and her two pals are in jail.
Woman with pretty face and evil heart always make trouble.
That's right. Next time you fall for a gal, son, be careful.
There isn't going to be any next time.
The last man I heard say that was happily married within 2 months. Come on, Tonto. Adios.
A masked man on the side of the law. I still don't get it.
I didn't understand it either, till the Indian told me.
You mean you know who he is?
Yes, Hutch. We've been face to face with a legend. He's the Lone Ranger.
Be with the Lone Ranger and Tonto same time next week for new dangers in another thrill-packed adventure when the Lone Ranger rides again. fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver. The Lone Ranger.
Hi-yo Silver! Away!
With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early West. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. The Lone Ranger rides again.
You're getting careless, Kirk. I could have blowed your head off.
Not unless a dead man can pull a trigger, Ringo. Had you both sent it the minute you rode into camp.
Always one up on us, ain't he, Corey?
Yeah. That's why you boys are taking orders instead of giving them. Did you get the supplies?
Sure did, boss.
That's what we went for.
Something on your mind, Corey?
Your big talk, mostly.
Meaning what?
Meaning you was full of promise about easy dough. I ain't seen none of it yet.
Settle down, Corey. The boss knows what he's doing. I've been with him a long time. They don't come no smarter than him.
Yeah? Well, I'm getting saddle sore waiting for a payday. You ask me, I think something...
Now get up. If I paid you for thinking you'd starve to death. Now fix the fire and get some food.
Here's the paper we got in Gold Town, boss.
Oh, thanks, Ringo. You boys read the front page?
No, what does it say?
Well, listen to this. You may get that payday after all. A reward of $100 is being offered by Dan Sherwood, Gold Town lawyer, to anyone having information as to the whereabouts of Edgar Wellington, who was last seen in this area, one of the heirs to the Sam Bates estate. Bates, an aged prospector, died without realizing that a gold mine claim he owned was worth close to $100,000. Wellington is 5'11", wears glasses, speaks with an English accent, and is a cracked pistol shot with either hand.
Hey, that guy we met in Boulder Canyon, the one pan in gold, he had an English accent.
Well, that's right, Ringo. And he fits the rest of this description. I bet he's still in Boulder Canyon, not realizing he's heir to a fortune.
Only $100 reward for finding him. You call that big money?
Shut up and listen. He's talking about 100,000.
Not 100,000. 50,000. There's another heir mentioned here in this paper. We get half, he gets half.
Yeah, who is it?
Somebody they call the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger? Kirk, you out of your mind? He's dynamite.
Dynamite's only dangerous in the hands of an incompetent. I wouldn't pass a setup like this if the King of England was the other heir. Good afternoon.
Hello there again. I thought you gentlemen were riding north. What is this? What do you want?
Just want to get to know you, Wellington. Real well. I want to learn all about your habits, where you were born, how you live. But most important, I want to hear you talk. Talk a lot. Take...
Them glasses are broken. What are you going to do now, boss?
Get some more?
Where? They ain't easy to buy out west.
You ought to do more reading, Corey. Right there. Store in Gold Town.
You want the same ad this week, Mr. Boggs?
Oh, sure. Say, son, I trust I'll have my same spot on the front page there.
Afraid not, Mr. Boggs. That news of Sam Bates' inheritance is still selling lots of papers.
Oh, they haven't found that Englishman yet, huh?
Nope.
Well, all right, my boy. I bow to the rights of the press, son. Barnaby Boggs Emporium. Brother, that's good. Well, welcome, sir. Welcome to Barnaby Boggs' Emporium.
I noticed your advertisement for eyeglasses in the newspaper.
Oh, yeah, sure, right here, sir. Yes, sir. There you are. There's a pair. Say, you're English, ain't you?
Yes, I'm here on business. You have a Mr. Sherwood in Goldtown, don't you?
The lawyer? Oh, sure. Say, you're not the fellow they've been looking for, that Edward Wellington, are you?
Edgar.
Well, what do you know? Well, sir, it's certainly a pleasure to serve you, neighbor, at least, Sir Edgar. Yes, sir, a pleasure and an honor to have you visit my establishment here. It certainly is an honor, sir.
I can't even see the chart with these. Haven't you something a little weaker?
Oh, Barnaby Boggs has got all kinds, Sir Edgar. Yeah, try those. Say, you know, the masked man's going to be along pretty soon. He has a share in the money, too, you know.
Yes. I'm anxious to meet the masked man.
Kemo Sabe, this rear door to Lawyer Sherwood's office?
Yes, Tonto. It's best we enter this way. You know my mask always starts questions.
What?
Don't be alarmed, Mr. Sherwood.
Who are you?
This might help to identify me.
Silver Bullet. Oh, of course, the masked man and his Indian friend, but I've heard of a white horse, a magnificent stallion.
Up, boy. In addition, I have a letter from my friend, the governor.
Well, that's all the proof I need. Come on in. I've been expecting you. We can get started on this inheritance business right away. I'm selling the mine today, and I'll have the $100,000 this afternoon.
We didn't get a copy of the newspaper until 2 days ago. Sam Bates's death was quite a shock.
Him fine man.
Yes, we're going to miss old Sam here in Goldtown. He must have thought very highly of you.
I saved his life once when he fell ill on the trail. I never expected this kind of repayment or wanted it. Sam's friendship was enough for me.
You find other fellow yet?
You mean the Englishman? No, I haven't heard a word from him.
You know, it's too bad Sam died before realizing his wealth. He had a big dream about what he'd do with money if he ever got any.
You mean the mining college idea?
Yes.
What do you mean, Kemo Sabe?
Well, Sam Bates was different than most prospectors, Tonto. He hated the waste and destruction and went with the desire to take gold from the ground. He knew wealth was there in 100 other forms. Unfortunately, there were very few men who knew it. So he wanted to start a mining college to teach young men the true value of our natural resources.
That very fine plan would help territory very much.
Yes, it's too bad it'll never be carried out.
It still can be, Mr. Sherwood, with the money Sam Bates left.
You mean you'd give up your share of Sam's estate?
Yes, but I'm afraid it would take the other half, too.
Then it seems a great deal depends on Mr. Wellington, when and if he arrives.
I dare say, gentlemen. It looks as if I've arrived just in time.
Wellington?
That's correct, Edgar Wellington. I'm terribly sorry I couldn't get here sooner, but I've been prospecting in Boulder Canyon. News is rather scarce out there.
Yes, I would imagine. Oh, this is Tonto, and this is the man who's going to inherit the other half of Sam's estate.
Howdy.
How do you do? My old friend Sam spoke very highly of you, masked man. His death was a terrible thing. I only wish that there was some way that I could express my feelings.
There is, sir. We were just talking about it.
Oh?
He undoubtedly told you about the college.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow you.
Sam wanted to see a mining college built right here on the territory. One like they have in the East.
Oh, yes, I do believe he mentioned something or other about a college.
It can become a reality now with your cooperation.
And with my inheritance money, I presume.
Oh, that's right.
Well, it's a noble thought, just like old Sam. But don't you think that we ought to get the money before we spend it?
Oh, yes, of course. I have the papers right here on my desk. If you gentlemen will sign them, it will ease the way for the monies to be paid. I have the masked man identification,
And Sam left a letter that was sent to him and signed by you, so I can check your signature by this one. Now, if you'll be good enough to sign the copies.
Well, let me see. This is the one, isn't it? Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to look these over, Mr. Sherwood. The fine print, you know.
I can assure you, sir, they're in order.
Oh, please don't take offense. It's just that I don't like to sign anything without looking it over at first. I'll read this very carefully this evening and return it tomorrow morning.
Very well, if that's your wish, Mr. Wellington. You have accommodations here in town?
Oh, yes. Everything's arranged.
And you, sir?
Tonto will set up camp east of town. I'll join him after I visit a friend of mine living here.
Then we'll meet here tomorrow morning. Agreed?
Agreed.
Well, goodbye until tomorrow.
Bye. Bye, sir.
You visit Barnaby Boggs?
Yes. I'd like to see how he's getting along.
What's wrong, Kemo Sabe? You worried?
Not worried, Tonto. Just puzzled.
About man inside, Wellington?
Yes. Doesn't it seem strange to you that a man would want to look over papers that make him heir to $50,000?
Much sudden money make man do many strange things, Kemo Sabe.
You're probably right, Tonto.
Me make camp. Meet you later.
Howdy, Barnaby.
Well, bless me if it isn't my friend the masked man. How are you? You know, your visiting my humble emporium is truly an honor.
Thank you, Barnaby. Are you keeping out of trouble?
Trouble? Oh, my friend, since you showed me the ways of justice and honesty, trouble is a word completely foreign to my vocabulary. Oh, it's true at one time that I was a purveyor of snake oil medicines, and I have separated a few local yokels from their money playing the shell game. But now, my friend, I stand before you a model of justice, honesty, truth, and how is our noble friend Tonto?
He's setting up camp. I just dropped by to say hello.
Oh, you're leaving so soon?
No, I'll be here for a day or so. Some business matters to settle.
Yes, and I'm well aware of those business matters. Your newly acquired wealth, my friend, is not a secret to the people of Gold Town.
Tell me, Barnaby, is this another one of your questionable business ventures?
Oh, don't look through those, my friend. You'll put your eyes out. Neighbor, this is a legitimate business venture. I have studied the charts and the pamphlets from the optical company, and spurred on by a desire to help my fellow man, I have finally mastered the mysterious art of fitting eyeglasses.
Barnaby, you sound convincing, but I'll withhold my judgment because I've seen your operations in the past. They weren't so good. Has the venture been successful?
Well, now, to tell you the truth, a little slow at first. But I'll tell you something else, my friend, that since the English air has been a customer of my emporium, people are going to start flocking to this place.
Edgar Wellington bought glasses here?
Yes, yes. A very difficult man to fit, too.
And why do you say difficult?
Well, you know, I read in the newspaper that he used a very strong pair of glasses. And when he come in here and told me that his old glass had been broken, I fitted him with the strongest pair in the place. The man couldn't even see through them.
Is that so?
Yes. Then I fitted him with a weaker pair, and still weaker. And finally, he bought the weakest pair in stock. You know, between you and I think he wears them, just figures he looks distinguished. You know, some gents are like that, you know.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Holy cow!
Oh, well, now, don't worry, Tommy. This man's a friend of mine. He's not a hold-up man.
What about the mask?
It's a symbol of justice, Tommy.
Gee, for a minute I thought it was my chance to get a big story.
Oh, so you're a newspaper man.
Oh, yes, he's a fine boy. A little bit over-anxious to become a newspaper reporter, but he's still a fine boy.
Sorry I can't give you a story, Tommy. But if you keep your ears open, you might run into a big one before you know it. Bye, Tommy. Adios, Barnaby.
My best regards to Tonto.
Golly, Mr. Boggs, who is that man?
That's the finest man you'll ever meet. Yes, sir, the very finest.
You mean you want us to ambush the masked man, huh?
You heard me.
I thought you said you put your act over, that he wasn't suspicious.
That's what I did, but he's smarter than I figured on. I want him out of the way just so that nothing comes between me and that inheritance.
That's a big order, boss.
One that shouldn't be too tough for you boys. He sent his Indian friend to set up camp. The masked man will be riding the east road out of town, alone.
We'll be riding.
Don't miss. everything goes well, we'll be on our way tomorrow with $50,000.
What about him?
We got all the necessary papers right here. We haven't got a problem.
You'll have one. Getting me to sign.
That won't be difficult. I assure you.
Last man's too good with that gun. Try and circle him.
Me hear shots, Kemo Sabe. Ride fast from camp.
2 men ambushed me, Tonto. One of them got away. This one wasn't as fortunate.
Why them try to kill you?
I think our friend Edgar Wellington is behind it.
Wellington want you dead?
I'm not sure the man we met in town really is Wellington.
Him had credentials.
Tonto, we could have stolen them. Barnaby Boggs said he bought weak glasses. He's supposed to need strong ones.
That's not much proof, Kemo Sabe.
I know, Tonto. Right now, we better take this fellow into town and report this to the coroner. Then tomorrow in the lawyer's office, if I'm right about the man who calls himself Wellington, there's one thing that should prove it.
Good morning, gentlemen. I hope I haven't kept you waiting. But I had a little accident.
Say, that looks bad.
Yes. The hammer slipped this morning while I was working on the trigger spring. I should have known better than to work on a loaded gun.
An embarrassing mistake for an expert marksman to make.
Yes, of course.
Well, I trust you're ready to sign the papers now.
Oh, but I have signed them, Mr. Sherwood. Lucky thing. Did it just before I hurt my hand.
But I wanted you to sign them in front of witnesses. Then everything would have been finished. I have the $100,000 in the satchel.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, but of course you understand.
This looks like a bona fide signature.
The signature may be, but that's no proof that this man is Wellington.
Now, look here. Who are you to be doubting me? How do I know you're who you claim to be?
He has shown me a silver bullet, Mr. Wellington, and a personal letter from the governor. That's all the proof I need.
Well, what more could I do? I'll sign with my left hand if that will help.
It should be easy to prove your identity, Wellington. Use your gun.
My gun?
If you're Edgar Wellington, you're an expert shot with either hand. Tonto, the window, please. See that weather vane across the street?
That's an impossible target.
Is it? Let's find out. Your turn, Mr. Wellington.
Why don't you fire, Mr. Wellington?
Well...
What's all the shooting
All of you stand still. The boy gets hurt.
Tonto, we can't take the chance.
You're using good sense, masked man. Keep on using it by dropping your guns. You too, Indian.
Why, the accent's gone. You are an imposter.
You discovered that a little late, Mr. Sherwood. I'm leaving town now with the entire $100,000 instead of just my inherited half. It'll be the first time in history that a man ever carried a mining college out of town in a satchel. Now get into the closet, all of you. Go on. Go on.
You all right, Tommy?
Sure, I'm sorry about what happened. I just
That's all right, son. The important thing is getting that money back and finding the real Edgar Wellington if he's still alive.
What's wrong, boss? Hit the saddle, Ringo. The masquerade's over. We've got the entire $100,000.
See if Wellington's inside, Tonto. I'll try to capture the other two. They may be wanted for past crimes as well as this one. Good boy, Silver. I'll take over from here. All right, mister, let's go. There's a cell waiting for you and your partners.
I say, Mr. Boggs, I do wish you'd let me pay you for these new glasses.
Why, no, certainly not. My goodness, if you and my masked friend can donate a fortune to build the Sam Bates Mining College, the least I can do is to donate a pair of eyeglasses.
Thanks again for your decision, Mr. Wellington. Education is going to play a vital part in the growing of the West.
You're both doing a very fine thing.
Nevertheless, I must admit that my motives weren't entirely philanthropic.
Well, what do you mean?
My mining prospecting luck was so bad that I intend to be the first student in the new college.
Well, goodbye, my friends.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. So long, Tommy.
Goodbye. My boss said he'd let me do a story with my own byline. And gosh, just to think, that story's gonna be about the Lone Ranger.
Be with the Lone Ranger and Tonto same time next week for new dangers in another thrill-packed adventure when the Lone Ranger rides again. fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver. The Lone Ranger.
Hi-yo silver! Away!
With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early West. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Marshal. Hi, Stanley. Anything for me, Charlie?
Well, let's see. Andrews, Adams, Agnew, Ammons. Stanley Ammons. There you go, Stan.
Thank you.
Might as well pick up the bank's mail, too, as long as you're here. Well, look what just crawled out from under a rock.
Cherokee Webster, you lop-eared old coyote. Where you been keeping yourself, huh?
I've been hibernating in the shack out near Warbonnet Pass.
Yeah? Well, if you came into town hoping to angle yourself another grub stake, you can just head right on out again. I've been carrying you on my books for 3 years now. You old deadbeat.
Yeah, $80, wasn't it? 20, 40, 60, 80.
4 double eagles. Well,
I'll take my bill, Mr. Bostic.
Now I've seen everything. They're real, all right.
Come on, Cherokee. Who'd you rob?
Didn't rob nobody, Marshal. A legitimate business transaction. I sold mine last week. Yep, the old Globe. Ain't nothing but a worked-out tunnel. But a couple of gents forked over $2,000 for the title.
2 gents paid $2,000 for that worthless old mine?
Yep, but don't ask me why. Yeah, now I got money enough to clear out and go back east. I was all set to leave, too. But then I got to thinking about how I owed Charlie here this bill. And daggone if I didn't figure it worth the $80 just to see his expression when I paid it.
Well, I don't know. It sounds like a mighty peculiar deal to me.
Yeah? Well, there's nothing peculiar about this money, and that's all I care about. I say a little celebrating's in order. A few gents will step into the back room. I'll stand everybody a treat from the private stock.
Cherokee. Could I speak to you for a minute? The men who purchased this mine, where'd they come from?
I said they was Easterners, that's all I know.
But their names. They must have given you their names.
Yeah, Brown, Smith. One's a lean gent with gray hair and side whiskers.
Go on.
And the other fella has a thick mustache.
But I saw him talking to him. Stanley Ammons and Cherokee. I saw them together, I tell you. Why did this have to happen to us? Cherokee said he was going to go east after we gave him the money. Now everything's ruined.
Nothing's ruined yet. Now get this straight, Lester. We're both in this too deep to pull out now. Besides, we've been through stiffer crises than this before. The bank examiners, for instance.
Bank examiners are fools. As long as the books balance, they're happy. But if they get a look at the papers on the Globe mine, we're finished.
So they'd find out that we loaned a lot of money to the new owners. They wouldn't know that we bought the mine and loaned the cash to ourselves and put it in our pockets. If you ask me, Lester, I'd say we've done pretty well in the 2 years since we came to town.
Well, sure we have, Wardell, but maybe we're trying to push our luck a little too far. Maybe we should clear out and find some new pickings.
We'll clear out when I give the word, not before. You think I'm going to see our gravy train derailed by some doddering old desert varmint?
But he can identify us, and if he does recognize us, we're finished.
He can't identify us if he's dead.
Dead? Oh, no, Wardell, that's going too far.
Maybe you prefer long-term accommodations in a federal prison.
So long, Cherokee. Don't spend it all on wine, women, and song, huh? Take it easy, boy.
Cherokee, Cherokee.
Molasses and bacon. Yep, I guess that's everything.
Cherokee! Poor old boy. Who never wanted to kill poor old Cherokee?
He was a nice old man.
The killer couldn't be far away. Come on, men. Spread out!
Something you wanted, Injun?
No sign, huh?
Whoever he was, he made a clean getaway.
Trouble, Marshal? Could have sworn I heard a shot.
You're right, you did, Mr. Young. Some ornery coyote gunned down old Cherokee Webster over there.
Now, who would want to kill a harmless old man like that?
You say that Cherokee was shot at close range?
That's right, Kemo Sabe.
That seems to imply the killer was someone the old prospector knew and trusted.
Motive not robbery, Kemo Sabe. Cherokee still have purse of money him carry in store.
No, it wasn't anything as petty as robbery.
You think maybe it'd have something to do with sale of Globe Mine?
We'd better ride over there tomorrow and have a look around.
That's plenty long journey, Kemo Sabe. Mine other side of Orville at War Bonnet Pass.
If we get started early, Tonto, we can get there by mid-afternoon. I have a hunch the key to this situation may be at that mine.
Looking for something, Stanley?
No, I was just checking over the records, Mr. Gray.
Perhaps I can help you.
Thank you, sir, but I found what I was looking for.
Oh?
I wonder, may I have the rest of the day off, Mr. Gray? There's some personal business I have to attend to at the county seat.
Well, I don't know, Stanley. There's a lot of work to be done here.
Go ahead, Lester. Don't be an old slave driver. If the lad wants a few hours off, let him have them. I guess the bank won't collapse during his absence. Eh, Ammons?
Thank you, sir.
He's been acting funny ever since I saw him talking to Cherokee. And now he's snooping through the records here. He's up to something, I tell you. Why did you let him go?
Why do you suppose? Follow him. When he gets a good, healthy distance from town, dispose of Mr. Ammons in the same manner you attended to Cherokee.
Oh, no, Wardell, not another. I can't.
The first killing is always the hardest, Lester. After that, it's easy.
It's easy for you. You don't have to do the dirty work.
Why should I? I furnish the brains of this partnership. Now go on. Earn your share of the profits.
Kemo Sabe. Footprints. 2 men been here not long ago.
Yeah, most likely the new owners. I'm curious to know why anyone would pay $2,000 for a presumably worthless mine. There's where the old vein ran. Looks like it's all worked out. Nothing but a lot of worthless quartz.
There no gold then, Kemo Sabe?
Doesn't take an expert mineralogist to answer that, Tonto. Let's go. I've seen all that
Maybe some man dropped it, Kemo Sabe.
Someone tried to fire this gun, but the mechanism jammed.
You think him tried to kill somebody? Down there, Kemo Sabe, from shaft.
Hello! Sounds like someone's hurt. Better get some rope, Tonto. Hold on! We'll get you out. Hurry, Tonto. Don't let the mask frighten you. I'm a friend. Easy now, Tonto. Let's haul them up.
After that, I decided to find out if the mine was really worthless, so I took the rest of the afternoon off and came here. I was going to collect some more samples and have them assayed. That's when I was slugged. If it hadn't been for you and Tonto, I probably would have been left in that shaft to die.
Tell me, what originally made you suspicious of Young and Gray?
Well, time and again, they approved large loans and properties I considered to be valueless.
You brought this to their attention?
I did, but they assured me that they knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing, all right. This is one of the cleverest swindles I've ever run across.
I told you they were slick.
It's obvious the other properties were also owned by them under fictitious names. They've been lending the depositors money to themselves.
What's worse, they've been getting away with it, even fooling the bank examiners. Another month and they would have cleaned out the till.
Only it won't continue on for another month.
How are you going to stop them? With what? We don't even have a law officer in this district.
What about Marshal Hawkins?
He's not a real law officer, more like a private watchman. His wages are paid by public subscription, and the bank contributes the bulk of his salary. It's not hard to figure out who he'd side in with if it came to a showdown.
I see. Tonto, I want you to ride to Red Rock. Bring back the U.S. Marshal. Tell him we have some customers for him.
Yes, Kemo Sabe, right away.
But in the meantime, Red Rock's a full day's ride from here. We still have no proof. It's my word against theirs.
By the time Tonto gets back, we'll have that proof. Now, if my plan works...
You have a plan?
Yes, but it'll involve a certain amount of risk.
I don't mind. I'll do anything to trap those swindlers.
Good. Now, here's what I suggest. Tomorrow morning, I want you to go to the office.
Good morning, Stanley.
Morning, Mr. Young. Mr. Gray.
What happened to you?
Slight accident. Nothing serious.
Lester, come into my office for a moment. There's a matter I'd like to discuss with you. So Stanley Ammons is dead, huh?
I can't understand it.
I thought you said you plugged him.
I said I disposed of him.
What do you mean?
It wasn't my fault, Wardell. The gun jammed, so I had to club him with it. Then I shoved his body down the mine shaft.
Oh, you bungling idiot.
But it was reasonable to assume he'd never get out. The sides were too steep for him to climb.
He didn't fly out.
No, he must have had help.
What is it?
There were 2 riders in the vicinity of the mine, a masked man and a redskin. But I got away before they had a chance to see me. Who'd have thought they'd go poking around?
Oh, shut up. I'm thinking. That masked man, did he ride a white horse?
Yes, and the redskin rode a paint. Why, do you know them?
If my hunch is right, I know of them. That masked man might be the Lone Ranger.
Lone Ranger. I told you we'd never get away with this. Why don't we clear out now while we've still got a chance?
That may be precisely what they expect us to do.
What?
Don't you see? Put yourself in the Ranger's place. He rescues Ammons out of the mine. Ammons spills the whole story, his suspicions about us and everything. But they need proof. Suspicions aren't enough. So the Ranger tells Ammons to go back to work, thinking that the shock of our seeing him alive might rattle us into making some incriminating move.
Such as?
Such as leaving town with the bank's money. Which is exactly what we'll do.
I thought you just said...
Oh, you leave the thinking to me around here. It's a simple matter of mental artillery, my friend. Anytime I can't match wits with a Lone Ranger and come out winners.
Well, what are you doing now?
Baiting a trap. Supposing Stan Ammons were to overhear us plotting to leave town tonight with the bank's funds, what would he do?
Well, he'd probably try to get word to the Lone Ranger so they could nab us in the act.
Excellent, Lester. You may go to the head of your class. Nothing's ruined yet. We're both in this too deep to pull out now. If you ask me, Lester, I'd say we've done pretty well in the 2 years since we came to town. We'll clear out when I give the word, not before.
It worked, just like you said it would. You should have seen their expressions when I walked in alive.
And you say Young and Gray are planning to skip town tonight?
8 o'clock. I overheard them discussing it. They mean to come back to the bank, clean out the safe, and then hightail it for the east.
And they're playing right into our hands. If we can catch them with the goods, we'll have an airtight case.
What's their next move?
When they visit the bank tonight, we'll be waiting for them.
It's dark. We're in time.
They should be arriving any moment.
We can hide in here. Masked man.
What is it?
We're too late. They've gone.
Well, they can't be far. Come on.
Hold it right there, mister. Hoist your arms. Better get their guns, Mr. Young. What did we tell you, Marshal? Just as we suspected. We figured that Stanley Ammons was planning to rob the bank. Catching him in the company of this masked outlaw proves it.
That's a dirty lie, and you know it.
You got to admit it looks mighty bad, Stan.
You're covering the wrong men, Marshal. We didn't rob anybody. On the contrary, we came here to prevent a robbery by the men standing next to you.
Caught in the act, and he tries to shift the blame to us. Next thing you know, he'll be trying to say he's the Lone Ranger.
It's true, Marshal. Check his guns if you don't believe it. They're loaded with silver cartridges.
And what does that prove? Anybody can have silver bullets made up and wear a mask.
The sooner those two are behind bars, the better.
It's quite obvious they have no intention of divulging where they've hidden the money. Maybe a night behind bars will change their minds. In the meantime, Mr. Gray and I will remain here and inventory the losses.
All right. Get along, you two.
Just a moment. Seems to me you're mighty anxious for us to get out of here.
What do you mean?
Could it be there's something in the bank here you don't want found?
Oh, can't you see, Marshal? He's just stalling for time.
Now, hold on. What are you driving at, mister?
Mr. Young claims we committed this holdup. I say there hasn't been a holdup yet. They staged this to make it look as if a holdup had transpired. It's my guess the contents in this safe is somewhere hidden in the bank.
Preposterous.
That's why they wanted to get us out of here. So they could hide the money in a safer place.
Lies. Nothing but a pack of lies.
If I am lying, perhaps you don't mind if the marshal searches the premises.
I do mind. I mind my integrity being challenged.
I don't see how it could hurt anything, Mr. Young.
Marshal, I order
Now, look
you...
here, Mr. Young. Maybe you did pin this badge on me, and maybe you can take it away whenever you like. But get this straight. While I'm wearing it, I'm going to try to uphold what it represents.
I don't know who's guilty of what around here, but I do know that I mean to see justice served.
All right, Marshal. Go ahead and search. But I warn you, you're only wasting your time. Satisfied, Marshal? I told you we're wasting your time.
Well, mister, just a moment. Haven't you overlooked something, Marshal? What about that cabinet?
That? The bank's private files are kept in there.
Locked. Hand me the key. I don't have one. Mr. Young has the only key.
This farce has gone far enough. Surely, Marshal, you're convinced now.
Open it.
But I tell you, there's nothing in there but the bank's private files.
Open it, Mr. Young.
Open it yourself. All right, Marshal. Don't move. I'm warning you, I'll shoot to kill. Get his hardware.
Now what? You got us in a fine fix. Why didn't you say the Lone Ranger put that bag in there?
I've got a better idea, Lester. We're gonna shoot them. All three of them. Make it look like they fought it out at close quarters.
You don't think you can get away with that, do you, Wardell?
Why not? As far as anybody's concerned, the marshal here found you two in the midst of robbing a bank. When he tried to arrest you, you resisted him, and then we take the loot and disappear.
No.
What?
I can't take any more of this violence. Let's make a run for it. I can't take it, I tell you.
No, mister. I've had enough.
All I can say is I'm mighty glad to see those two hombres behind bars. When I think how close they were to cleaning out the bank,
It won't happen again. Now that Stan's in charge of things, the depositors are assured of an honest deal.
I kind of hate to take this off, but after what happened tonight,
Take it off, nothing. If I've got anything to say about it, you've got that badge for keeps.
Stan's right. When the people of Orville learn what you did tonight, I'm sure they'll agree with him.
But you said yourself you sent for the United States Marshal.
I'm going to ride out and meet Tonto. I'll tell the U.S. Marshal that he needn't bother coming back to Oroville. Oroville's own law officer has the situation well in hand. Adios.
The citizens of Orville shouldn't be grateful to me. They should be grateful to the Lone Ranger.
Be with the Lone Ranger and Tonto same time next week for new dangers in another thrill-packed adventure when the Lone Ranger rides again. The Lone Ranger.